Greece, the southernmost of the countries of the Balkan Peninsula. Geography has greatly influenced the country's development. Mountains historically restricted internal communications, but the sea opened up wider horizons. The total land area of Greece, 1/5 of which is made up of the Greek islands, is comparable in size to England or the U.S. state of Alabama. Greece has more than 2,000 islands, of which about 170 are inhabited. Some of the easternmost Aegean islands lie just a few miles off the Turkish coast. The country's capital is Athens, which expanded rapidly in the second half of the 20th century. Attiki, ancient Greek, Attica, the area around the capital, is now home to about 1/3 of the country's entire population. A Greek legend has it that God distributed soil through a sieve and used the stones that remained to build Greece. The country's barren landscape historically caused the people to migrate. The Greeks, like the Jews and the Armenians, traditionally have been a people of diaspora, and several million people of Greek descent live in various parts of the world. Xenotia, or sojourning in foreign lands, with its strong overtones of nostalgia for the faraway homeland, has been a central element in the historical experience of the Greek people. Greece is a country that is at once European, Balkan, Mediterranean, and Near Eastern. It lies at the juncture of Europe, Asia, and Africa and is heir to the heritages of classical Greece, the Byzantine Empire, and nearly 4 centuries of Ottoman Turkish rule. Land. Greece is bordered to the east by the Aegean Sea, to the south by the Mediterranean Sea, and to the west by the Ionian Sea. Only to the north and northeast does it have land borders, totaling some 735 miles, 1,180 kilometers, with, from west to east, Albania, the Republic of North Macedonia, see researchers note, Macedonia, the provenance of the name, Bulgaria, and Turkey. The Greek landscape is conspicuous not only for its rugged beauty but also for its complexity and variety. 3 elements dominate: the sea, the mountains, and the lowland. The Greek mainland is sharply indented. Arms and inlets of the sea penetrate so deeply that only a small, wedge-shaped portion of the interior is more than 50 miles, 80 kilometers, from the coast. The rocky headlands and peninsulas extend outward to the sea where there are many island arcs and archipelagos. The southernmost part of mainland Greece, the Peloponnesos, ancient Greek, Peloponnese, peninsula, connects to the mainland only by the narrow isthmus at the head of the Gulf of Corinthiakos, Corinth. Greece's mountainous terrain covers some 4/5 of the country, much of which is deeply dissected. A series of mainland mountain chains running northwest-southeast enclose narrow parallel valleys and numerous small basins that once held lakes. With riverine plains and thin, discontinuous strips of coastal plain, these interior valleys and basins constitute the lowland. Although it accounts for only about 1/5 of the country's land area, the lowland has played an important role in the life of the country. Relief. Three characteristics of geology and structure underlie these landscape elements. First, northeastern Greece is occupied by a stable block of ancient, Hercynian, hard rock. Second, younger and weaker rocks, the majority of which are of limestone origin, make up western and southern Greece. These were heavily folded during the Alp-building phase of the Paleogene and Neogene periods, about 66 to 2.6 million years ago, when Earth movements thrust the softer sediments east-northeast against the unyielding Hercynian block and produced a series of roughly parallel tectonic zones that gave rise to the mountain and valley relief. Third, both the Hercynian block and the Hellenic, Alpine, ranges were subsequently raised and fractured by tectonic movements. These dislocations created the sunken basins of the Ionian and Aegean Seas as well as the jagged edges so typical of Greece's landscape. Earthquakes are frequent reminders that similar Earth movements continue, particularly along the major fault lines. One result of the region's geologic instability is the widespread presence of marble, which is limestone that has been altered by pressure and heat. Seismic disturbances are sometimes associated with volcanic explosions, especially those involving the island of Thera, ancient Greek, Thera, also called Santorini, which was virtually destroyed by a major eruption in the 2nd millennium BCE. The vents of the Kameni Islands in the sea-filled explosion crater of Thera remain active. The island of Melos, which rises to 2,465 feet, 751 meters, above sea level, is composed of young volcanic rocks. Relief and geology provide the basis for describing the Greek landscape in terms of 6 major regions: central, northeastern, eastern, southern, and western mainland Greece, along with the islands. Central Greece, the Pindos Mountains. The Central Mountain Range, the Pindos, ancient Greek, Pindus, mountains, forms the core of mainland Greece. Following the general northwest-southeast trend of the mountains of the Balkan Peninsula, the Pindos sweep down from the Albanian and North Macedonian frontiers, creating a powerful barrier. The two passes of Metsavan and Mount Timphristos divide the range into 3 units, a fairly open segment in the north where impervious shales and sandstones have weathered and formed into extensive upland valleys and gently inclining hills, the Pindos proper in the center, some 20 miles, 32 kilometers, wide and predominantly limestone, and an almost uncrossable zone in the south, about 50 miles, 80 kilometers, wide, deeply cut by winding rivers and composed of a mixture of limestone, slates, and sandstones. The range's highest point, Mount Smolikas, 8,652 feet, 2,637 meters, high, is found in the north. Northeastern Greece, Macedonia and Thrace. Several topographic regions surround the main mountainous core and are often penetrated by extensions of it. The northernmost part, roughly the regions of Greek Macedonia, and Thrace, extends in a long, narrow, east-west band between the Aegean coast and the frontier with the countries of North Macedonia and Bulgaria. It consists of forest-clad, crystalline mountain massifs and plateaus created by the fracturing of the Hercynian block and separated from each other by the alluvial deposits of the 5 great rivers of northern Greece, the Maritsa, Evros, Nestos, Strimonas, Struma, Vardaris, Vardar, Axios Winkyface, and Aliakmonos, Aliakmon. The fracturing of the Hercynian also accounts for the odd three-pronged shape of the Chalcidice peninsula, on whose easternmost prong is located Mount Athos, Holy Mountain, which is the famous site of Greek Orthodox monastic communities. Along and beyond the Bulgarian border rise the Rhodope mountains, mainly composed of sharp-edged and sloping plateaus, reaching 7,260 feet, 2,213 meters, at Mount Orvelos. The Maritsa River, in its low-lying, marshy valley, marks the Turkish border. From there to the lower Strimonas River extends a succession of plains, some of which are often swampy, such as the deltaic plain of the lower Nestos, and others have been turned into fertile agricultural land, as is the case in the former Lake Aquinos. Inland there are basins of structural origin, such as the plain of Drama, Lakes Caronia, and Valvi, which separate the Chalcidice Peninsula from the rest of the coastal region, also occupy structural depressions. Farther west, the large plain drained by the Vardaris and lower Aliakmonos rivers is being continually extended as the river deltas push out into the Gulf of Thermaikos, Thermae. The forested Vermio mountains and, beyond them, the barren inland basins around lakes Vegaritis, and Karditsa mark the boundary with the Pindos Mountains. Thank you for watching.